Hello, my fellow individuals. I am Mr. Mini Mask Man here, and today I'm going to review Season 7, Episode 10 of The Walking Dead. Now, obviously, if you have not seen the episode, then please do not watch this video until you do so, as this will obviously contain spoilers and possible comic book spoilers. Alrighty, so this episode I thought was a bit interesting. Okay overall, I'll say it was alright, but there was one or two things that kind of caught my interest in there. So, but yeah, this one was actually okay, I guess. Now, I guess for just a few things, it's not really a lot to talk about per se on this episode, as it's just, I wouldn't call it a filler, but it's kind of a little setup. This is just part of this whole setup of Rick, gathering these groups to, fight against the Saviors. Negan and Saviors. So, for what I'm seeing, at least when it started, like I said from the last video, is that there's got to be a reason or some push for Ezekiel to fight and join Rick against the Saviors. Now, you kind of see that Ezekiel almost had it. He's kind of getting there during their, their little, the agreement, where they give the stuff to the Saviors, etc. And that one guy that really hates was, I think Richard was his name. He wanted, just to bother the hell out of him, beat him up, whatever. And it almost caused a tension of fighting. Morgan stepped in, with his badass cane cane action or stick. And what's it called? The kid who's under Morgan's teachings, I guess, of how to fight with the stick. You can see he's learning when he attacked the other guy back to help defend from Morgan, when the guy was going to attack him. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, you see it's causing tension that even the lead guy from that group, from the Saviors, was kind of telling Ezekiel that he might have to think of a new way to do these trades than the usual way that they do it, since especially Richard, he's pointing out, is the one that's causing those issues. So, and you can kind of tell Ezekiel he's not sure. He promised them he won't take Richard anymore with this, but the other guy's like, no, I know you'll still bring him back, so we're gonna have to do something else in mind. Which I guess we will see soon enough, probably somewhere down the road in the season. Maybe it'll come back again, and probably a possible character death between one of the Kingdom or Ezekiel's group right there. And I think that'll probably push him. So that's one way. Or what else? I don't know. There's got to be some way that it'll push Ezekiel to make that decision to join, Rick and the gang. So I'm still going to lean more towards a character death, I would say. Probably something with this exchange again, the next meetup. Probably something will happen and it'll just rub Ezekiel the wrong way. And you'll finally say, you know what, the hell with it. Let's go. Which is what we're waiting for. Now, let's see, I'm trying to recall afterwards that, Richard, was trying to convince Daryl, yeah, let's go attack and kill some of the Saviors now while we have the chance. And Daryl obviously was on board, so he gave, Daryl finally his crossbow. It's not it's not his original one that Dwight has that took from Daryl, that crossbow, but overall a crossbow. So, Daryl has his well, not his, but a crossbow again to fight, and we finally got that back. He's finally got that back in a way. Now, the thing that Daryl got kind of ticked off is when Richard's plan was to kill these Saviors and retrace it back to Carol. And Daryl, Richard trying to explain that plan, he didn't know he was talking about Carol until he made him say her name. And then, it caused issues between them. Or Daryl wouldn't do it if he was just going to frame Carol, and possibly die, from the Saviors and all, and not retrace him back to the Kingdom. So, and he was hoping between those actions, especially if Carol's death or endangerment, and he kind of knows that Ezekiel cares about her a lot, then that'll probably push Ezekiel to fight. not a bad plan, but I can kind of tell Richard's getting desperate, you know, to go for that method there, that plan. So, kind of want to give him credit, but not in that way. But I kind of get why he wanted to do that. So I just wouldn't do it that way. I probably would have done something else. Or either way, maybe the Sabers would have figured out anyways that it was from the kingdom and still go after him. So who knows? Who knows how would that worked out, to be honest with you. But yeah, I would say, so I don't know if Richard, I know something's going to happen. I don't know if the next time they meet up, you know, when the kingdom gives them their stuff, if Richard's going to do something that'll cause a fight in between them and that distrust is going to happen. And they'll either kill Richard himself or someone else in Ezekiel's group when that happens, and that'll just be the end of that, and now they're in hostility, and Ezekiel has no choice but to fight. And then he contacts Rick, and so forth. But at least that's what I think is what's going to happen, of why the kingdom later joins in and fights with Rick and the gang. So there's that in mind, at least from that part from the kingdom. Now, this other group, not comic book, not from the comics at all, this new group, I guess like the people I keep calling them Garbage Pail Kids, or the Junkyard people, whatever, you know. But anyways, we finally get to meet those people, very interesting individuals, you know. So they have this weird way of methods. All they want overall, they just want stuff, you know. They're just scavengers in a way. They just take, I think, what was the word? They take no action, or something like that, you know. So they don't bother, they just take without as much fighting as possible if needed, but they just take. That's all they do. They just take. That's all they want. Food and weapons and other supplies is mainly all what they need. So Rick tried to negotiate as they have, you know, Father Gabriel hostage. And, you know, Gabriel also tried to convince them. And they're kind of thinking about it. The leader, was it Jadis? I think that was her name. She was thinking about it, you know, told Rick. He said, okay, fine, come with me. And, you know, then later she pushed him off in this pit to say if he's worthy of enough of this negotiation. And I would say, now in this part of this, I would say of all the episode, just this part of this episode is what I liked, was when Rick had to go against that walker, that spiked in pipes connected walker. I thought that was pretty badass. That's personally my favorite walker of the whole series. Of all the types that we've encountered in this series, that one's now my new favorite. It's just such, I don't know, you wouldn't expect to see that kind of walker in The Walking Dead. That's kind of more of a, somewhat of a Resident Evil kind of zombie, or not Silent Hill, probably more Resident Evil type, to be honest with you. And it was pretty interesting, and how freaking Rick got his hand just freaking stabbed when he tried to push him off with the helmet, which is a bad idea, but he had no choice. I mean, it was kind of hard to angle it at that instant to not get his hand stabbed, and all had to choke him off or push him back like that. But I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool, though. You know, so I actually kind of questioning, how did they get all that stuff on that walker to begin with? Like, was it already a walker, and they just, I don't know what they did to constrain him to shove all those spikes all over his body and head, or if it was actually just a person, and they did all this while he was alive or something. Then they killed him, and then they trapped him in this pit that they made, and then he woke up as this walker with spikes, and then they decided this whole idea to throw people every now and then in there for some sort of death pit, you know, to prove their worthiness of this group, or to even negotiate with this so-called group. I think that's probably it, because I know Jada said that even that walker had a name. Winslow, I believe, was the name. So I'm like, interesting. So yeah, I mean, there was that. I thought that I really liked that part. I thought that was pretty cool. That whole walker thing. You know, from the previews, from this mid season, I would say, how did that walker came into play? I thought it was something. I don't know if it was something that Rick and the gang were going to use that walker, those kinds of walkers, against Negan, or vice versa. Or Negan was going to use those walkers as weapons against during this future all-out war. But Negan does do something, if I recall. I don't know if it was with the walkers or something. During the all-out war, he had an idea. I think it was something similar with that. I can't remember. I gotta read the comics again on that arc. Where, I don't know if he releases the walkers during the fight, and they all had like spikes or something around them that made them more difficult to kill. Besides the whole walker blood thing, where they got all the weapons soaked with that just to infect with the people that they fight, which was a genius idea from Negan at least in that part. But I don't think we won't be seeing that until next season during the All Out War arc, which is like I said, highly assume will be season 8. But anyway, so during that whole fiasco, Rick negotiated. He agreed that they'll give them their guns, and was she asking for, jars or some other items? And he agreed, and they say, okay, fine. And now they're gonna fight for Rick and the gang for this future all-out war with Negan and the Saviors, basically. So, and then the last thing that actually just majorly happened was Daryl meeting Carol. Finally meet after a while. And it was a very touching reunion, obviously. I mean, everybody knows Daryl cares about Carol, and Carol cares about Daryl quite a bit. So it was nice to see them finally meeting. She finally sings a song from the group after a while. Now, the only thing from there that I'm still thinking, I don't know if it's the right thing or the wrong. When Carol was asking what happened with the group after their encounters with the Saviors, she said, is everybody still okay? Is everyone alive? And Daryl, because I think she mentioned something that if something would have happened to them, she would have basically gone back to Carol mode, go all out and just start killing them, etc. But Daryl did not tell her the truth. He says he told her everybody's fine, everybody's okay back at home. So she felt relieved, she felt fine, and then Daryl took his leave, and he just later left the kingdom, told him that he was going to go to Alexandria. Not Alexandria, the Hilltop. That was his next stop. And, and that's how the episode ends. Now, I guess the thing that I'm thinking of is, was it the right thing for Daryl to lie to Carol? I get it in some way, because, Carol's been through quite a bit of things, and she kind of went crazy for a moment, and she was just trying to calm it down, find some peace, and just stay away from the trouble. She doesn't want to cause trouble around, her, the people that she cares about. Which I kind of get why Carol's doing that, but there's some instances where Carol needs to kind of come back and help and fight. They need people, they need help, so she's a big asset for this. And, I think Carol just kind of has to find that balance of the right times to fight, but at the same time not to lose herself with this whole route of constant violence. Almost like the same thing that happened to Morgan before Morgan found his peace, So she just kind of has to find that. And sorry. And I don't know, she just has to find that sooner enough, because it's been episodes after episode, she's just kind of doing not really much. It's kind of more Carol just saying, stay away. Somebody meets her. Okay, good. Go away. Somebody meets them. Alright, cool, talk. Go away, And we need that Carol action. We need Carol, the badass Carol. That's what we need. So we're just waiting for that, I really thought Daryl was going to be able to push her, but obviously not, but I think I might know what would happen. Maybe. Daryl lied because he didn't want Carol to go back to her old self, start going on a killing spree and lose her mind and lose herself, basically. He doesn't want to see Carol lose herself and all that. So that's why he lied, is to protect her and all that. Now, the bad thing is that because he lied, you know what always happens when somebody says a lie, they'll eventually find the truth. They'll know the truth sooner or later. And I think she'll find out. I want to say Morgan will be the one to tell her. Maybe Morgan will come visit Carol, to give her stuff from Ezekiel or whatever, just to talk for a little bit. And Carol will say, by the way, I talked to Daryl, and he's like, all right, cool. And she'll probably say something like, I'm glad everybody's okay back there, no one died. And then maybe Morgan will break the news to her of what really happened. Remember, he's the one that knew who died. Glenn and Abraham, Spencer and Olivia and all those guys from Rick's group in Alexandria during the first meeting of Ezekiel. So he knows the truth as well, and I'm probably thinking some way or another he's going to break the news to her. And then she's just going to go all out. And then we'll see Carol back again and going to help. Maybe, I don't know, to help with Rick, but just maybe go somewhat on her own or solo against the Saviors. And maybe during some part she'll meet Rick and the gang and, join up again. At least that's what I'm thinking was going to happen there with Carol and this whole situation. So yeah, I'm thinking Morgan will be the one to break the news to her. That's what I'm kind of seeing. I don't know when, maybe not the next episode or the episode after, but sometime this season, she's going to meet up with, Morgan's going to meet up with Carol, they're going to talk and stuff, and Morgan will break the actual news. And then Carol's going to snap and, go all killing machine mode again, which we kind of need right now. So, now, that's one thing. Now, the other thing I'm talking about is this new group. The question is, they got their alliances, their allegiance, with Rick. The question is for how long? That this group almost seems kind of neutral, or more chaotic neutral to be in fact. And all they want is stuff, right? Just guns and other items and food, etc. And they said, hey, if we defeat the Saviors, you'll get all that stuff because they have it. Now the problem is, if they join Rick and the gang and fight, what if the Saviors or Negan themselves offer them stuff to join for them? And maybe the group will betray Rick and everybody else. I think what I'm seeing is going to be like Rick and Alexandria and Hilltop going to fight and attack Negan. They're kind of there, but Negan, either two things. Either Negan, like in the comics, has his backup plan with his other people hiding and they come out during their failed assassination attempt against Negan. Or is going well. They're almost there to kill Negan, but Negan and a few of the Saviors is going to talk to this other group, the new group, and somehow lure them to join to fight with them, and they promise to give everything to them. And then they turn around and join Negan and the gang, and they start fighting, against Alexandria and Hilltop all of a sudden. And it will be like a big twist, like, holy crap, now. And then that's why they have difficulty killing Negan, and maybe the Kingdom at the last minute will come to help them, and then, Negan and whatever remainder of the Saviors in this new group, they escape. And that's when they, the three main groups, maybe Oceanside, the women with the guns, because the question is, where is Rick going to get the guns that he's going to promise them? Either, I think for what I recall, when they bury those fake graves for Maggie, I think they hit the gun, some of the guns there Father Gabriel told Rick. So I think they might either use those, or somehow, I don't know if Tara's gonna break her promise in a desperate time to tell Rick about this group. Because I remember Rick told Tara, like saying, hey, you went up the farthest, have you seen anything or anybody with weapons or something like that? And she kind of said nope. She was kind of hesitant, she didn't want to say, but she wants to help, but she doesn't want to break that promise, with that girl from that group. So I don't know if she's eventually going to spill it out, or maybe Tara by herself is going to go back to Oceanside somehow, or talk just to the girl and convince them that they really need them to fight to take down the Saviors. And then maybe they'll join. So, one or the other. I think somehow they're going to, obviously they're going to play a role in the Oceanside group. So, I think somehow it's going to happen like that. Either Tara's going to have to break her promise and tell Rick and everybody, or Tara by herself is going to go and meet up either with the group or just the girl to tell the girl to convince the rest of the Oceanside group to join the fight. You know? So, and that's when Oceanside's going to come in and help Rick and all that during the All Out War. So, at least that's what I'm thinking on that. But yeah, the question is, like, with this new group, you know, I don't fully trust them. I honestly don't. I think something's going to happen, you know, either during this season or during the All Out War, one or the other. They're probably going to betray Rick and everybody because Negan is going to somehow convince them, or some way to convince them that to join them instead of with Rick, to give them, they're going to give them their stuff too. They're going to give them more stuff than what Rick is offering. And obviously all they want is stuff. That's the whole group's thing. That's their motto. They just want to scavenge stuff and get it. So, obviously they'll say, well, these guys have more stuff. Why not? And then boom. You know, so then now they have this new allegiance with the Saviors. And then Rick is going to have an issue. He thinks, well, crap, we got betrayed. And that's when either the Kingdom or Oceanside, one of those two, are going to come in the last minute and help out. And then you'll see Rick with those other three. So probably 3 to 4. 3 the main communities plus Oceanside. So Alexandria, Hilltop, Kingdom, and Oceanside against the Saviors and the Garbage Pail Kids. Or the Junkyard, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. So, at least that's what I think it's going to happen. But, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I can think of what's going to happen there. And, by the way, I know it's kind of, not random, but kind of not really a major importance or detail, but Rosita really needs to calm down. She's letting anger get to her. You know, in her head, she's not thinking straight. You know, who said that? I don't know if it was Carol or somebody. I forgot one of the characters in Walking Dead mentioned about anger will get you killed. I think it was Carol talking to Tyrese or something. You know, back in two seasons ago, I think. That anger gets you killed quick. And I'm kind of afraid Rosita's almost in that path. Technically, Rosita shouldn't die yet. Not yet. But because in the show they switch character deaths, maybe she, depending how she keeps going and acting, she might meet her fate actually sooner than I thought. Either that or she's going to cause someone else's death because of her fault. I don't know, one or the other. So yeah, but I think that's pretty much it that I can analyze in this episode, you know? Now, I guess what's going to happen next is, I think for when I checked the preview, there's going to be a Eugene/Dwight episode. So basically, the whole next episode is just going to focus more back to the Saviors again. Basically, what they're doing with Eugene, what Eugene is going through, and what's going him back, or what's happening in Dwight's mind, what he's thinking, and what he's going through. And it'll probably push more of why Dwight will eventually betray Negan. And, you know, join Rick and everybody. So, I think that's pretty much all I can get to that. So that's pretty much, I think the next episode is just going to be, it's just more focused on Eugene and Dwight. That's pretty much it. So, but yeah, overall I think, yeah, this episode, it was okay, you know. It wasn't terrible in any way. But it wasn't, you know, something engaging per se. Like I said, it's just more of a, you know, this introduction, this new group, and just setting things up little by little. It's just still kind of building, you know, until, I would say, until around the season finale or a little bit before the season finale, it's going to hit that peak or climax, and then boom. And then the big action starts at the season finale. So yeah. But there you go. I think that's all I got to say for this one. So yeah. Well, let me see. I think that's it. I'm trying to think if I missed anything, but nah. No, I think I pretty much pretty much said what I had to say. There you go. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and if you like my video, you know what to do. And as I always say here, I hope you guys have a nice day.